Hey guys, good evening. So today we are going to be starting this quarter's company analysis with the capital market stocks. So we have three companies lined up today in this short workshop. So we have Angel One, we have CAMS, and we have CDSL. So let me share the presentation with you guys. Okay, Prerna, is the screen visible?
Yeah, the screen is visible.
Okay. So capital market stocks, before I start, guys, please excuse me for for a very clumsy and a raw looking presentation, because the focus is always on the content and to give you the opportunities instead of wasting time on making presentations and all that. So let's get started. Okay, so the first company is Angel One. Okay, so what does Angel One do? Angel One is a digital broking company. So you all understand brokerages, right? When you started your Demat accounts, right? You had to start with a screener. I'm sorry, with an Angel One or with a Zerodha, right? Or with an ICICI Securities. So these are digital brokers which help you to buy and sell stocks in the stock market. Okay. So now, why are we talking about Angel One? We'll go through a particular process about, say, for example, how does the company make money, and what is the scope of this company, the management outlook, and say, for example, like understand the cyclicality of the capital market space. So if you look at Angel One, you can just see the gross revenue mix here first, okay? And if you can just follow my cursor, you see 70% of the money comes from the broking fees. And I can tell you, out of this 70%, 85% of the money comes from FNO trading. Okay, so it's a pure play broking company. Okay, remaining percentages, if you can just see, like 16% comes from interest. Now, what is the interest? Is like they generally, if you open your Demat account, you will see that your broker is also willing to give you a certain amount of money to trade, right? So basically what they do is collect, they charge an interest on that money. So they will tell you, collect, okay, here, take 1 lakh rupees and you can trade on that and do FNO trading and all that. And we want that money back along with an interest after a few number of days. So they get an interest out of the money they give to their clients. So वो बनता है आपका 16%. Remaining कुछ इधर उधर का है, like they also play a part of depository distribution. What is distribution here? Distribution is, say, for example, which Angel One is pretty new, is like they have opened this super app of theirs. Okay, and on that super app, what they're trying to do is they're trying to distribute mutual fund products, insurance products. So basically, why do a broking company want to add mutual funds and insurance and all that? So that their client sticks to that one particular broker. Because see, if I have to go to a different platform to get my insurance done, and I have to go to a different platform to get my mutual funds done, then I might not stay with Angel One here. So Angel One understands this, although you can see that majority of the revenue do come from broking, but slowly they would want to get this distribution part up in order to retain the client. Now, here is the thing, they would want to retain the client so that the clients are retained and they can do more FNO trading. That's the whole concept. So that it becomes a one-stop shop solution for all financial needs for one particular client on a super app on their mobile phones. So now here is the thing, right? Now this is what happens in an angel. So in Angel One, let's understand how, say, for example, they make money. Okay, so let's understand this. By the way, all these are taken from the Q4 investor presentation. So say, for example, you see what they do is collect, when a client opens a Demat account with Angel One, they do a 3-year projection. Okay, now say, for example, the total revenue. Now if you can just follow the cursor, you will figure out, okay, like, to acquire a client, they would have to pay up a fee, correct, which is called a cost of acquisition, correct? So in cost of acquisition mein kya hota hai ki, like, that is a one time cost, correct? So if you see in that first year, there is a large cost of acquisition, and of course there are some other direct costs as well, right? So but then, having said that, Angel One tells you that the client becomes profitable from the first year itself, right? But from the second and third year, there is no direct cost of acquisition. So that means you can see that the contribution margin goes up substantially higher, right? So this is what you can see. Acquired clients are profitable from year one, indicating robustness of our digital business model, right? So that means what? That means the company is trying to tell you that the clients become profitable for the company right from year one, and the contribution margins go up. So you see one particular trend here, that of course, like, over a period of time, जो भी client आता है with Angel One or with Zerodha or with any other broking company, you would mostly see that that their contribution towards the company goes down in terms of revenues. Generally, what happens here is, like, say for example, most people open demat accounts during a bull market, and in the subsequent bear market they go out. So that is exactly what they are trying to show here as well, right? These are E is nothing but estimate. So if you see, the revenues are coming down here, right? But then having said that, the cost disproportionately comes down. So as a result of which your margins go up, right? And if you can also see here, right, this is the contribution margin, which is nothing but contribution margin divided by your net revenue. So revenue per cost of acquisition will expand further as clients contribute, continue to contribute revenues in subsequent year. So very simple here, right? So Angel One is basically telling you that after a client joins, ठीक है, और अगर वो client minimum 3 से 4 साल भी रखते हैं, because a broking company is going to make a lot of money if a client sticks to that one particular app, right? अगर वो client आके 2 दिन में चला जाता है, then the broking company doesn't make money. So this is why what Angel One is trying to do is they are trying to make it a sticky proposition for the client. और अगर client 2 3 4 साल रह जाता है, see how much money that the company is making, and their contribution margin goes up. So if you look at the 3-year aggregate as well, right, you can clearly see that their contribution margin is 78.5%. Okay, so again, having said that, benefits of super app to further enhance the lifetime value of every cohort. So basically, what is a super app? Again, let me tell you. So previously, what used to happen in the broking industry was like sub physical brokers हुआ करता था. But now people are shifting towards digital brokers, right? So you guys must also see, right? You guys have this, Angel One ka app on your phone, or a Zerodha ka Kite ka app on your phone, right? You don't have to go to a broker's office to ask anybody to buy or sell share. Now I think buying and selling stocks are as simple as opening a Facebook account, right? So once you build a super app and you make the process super simple, right, it helps clients to, like, to trade more in the market through your app. Yeah. So now I'll tell you this. What is Angel One doing here, which the other brokerage companies didn't do that much, is Angel One is actually targeting clients, or which they call cohorts, between the age of 20 and 25 from tier 2, 3, 4, 5 cities. So if you see this, right, 93% of their gross client addition by tier 2, 3 cities. So this is what Angel One is doing, which the other brokerage companies are not doing. What doing? Because see, brokerage is a volume game. It can never be a value game, right? People will do, more trading and more F&O trading and derivative trading during a bull market, and people will do less of that in a bear market. So it is more of a volume game, right? So Angel One is acquiring clients by moving to tier 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cities and targeting people of the age of 20, 25, 27. We are going to cover that as well. So if you look at Q4 FY21 to Q4 FY23, you can see that there is a growth of 40% in the around the client base, and because the growth is coming not from cities but from tier 2, 3, 4 cities. Yeah. And now this is the thing, right? Because they ventured deeper into the the hinterlands of India, that as we mentioned, tier 2, 3, 4, 5 cities. You see, this is why Angel One has been gaining market share against the industry. So you would also have understood, like, in the last year and a half to 2 years, right, we have had a very bad bear market, right? Because of course, of many reasons, like including a war. We have seen a war in Russia. We have seen the US, hiking rates up to 5%, right? And when there is a rate hike, money goes out of India. I mean, I talk about the FII flow money, right? But having said that, Angel One captured market share in such a bear market, right? Why did they do it? Because they created a super app. Like, now they are completely a digital broker, completely focused on technology. And second is, they have focused on the hinterlands of India. That is what the other brokers are not doing. So if you can clearly see here, even if you look at the top 5 brokers as well, everybody, like in the the industry and the other top 5 brokers, they have been degrowing. Means, like, even Zerodha market share has also come down from, I think, 20% to 18.5%, if I'm not wrong. But Angel One kept on increasing. Can you see? Although the increment is very low, but they are in green all along. Okay, so this is again the thing, like, this is something that I took from their con call transcript. So this is basically what the management is saying here. Okay, like, so there is an 8% incremental market share. 8% incremental market share over the past year and a half to 2 years is not a matter of joke. So if you see this, how did this 8% come up? That's what they actually said. Like, so while the industry additions have come down, we have actually expanded both the number of customers, when we have also expanded our market share in the new acquisition. That means new customers came from the tier 2, 3, 4 cities. And once a new customer comes in, the customers become more sticky because of the super app that they made. Got it? So that means there is a value addition as well as there is a volume addition, on which you got a total 8% incremental market share. Right? And of course, this primarily is a function of the acquisition engine that we have perfected, looking at the younger customer and looking at tier 2 and 3 geographies, right? Because the younger you take that customer, the more number of years you get with that customer. Say a person who recently got a job in an IT company in, let's say, a tier 3 city or a tier 2 city, right? And the person is of only 21, 22 years of age, right? So that means what? And then he opens an account with Angel One, right? And मतलब उसका salary जो भी हो, he is going to bring a significant chunk of his money into the stock market, because everybody wants to, and the equity culture in India is growing at a rapid pace. Like, we all know that. I don't need to, like, tell you more about it. But having said all that, this is what Angel One is trying to do, trying to catch people early and trying to reach out to tier 2, 3, 4 cities, because we all understand that, like, I think almost every person in this country has a mobile phone with an internet connection. So Angel One is taking full advantage of that. This is what Angel One has done. Now, this is why I put up this slide is very critical, because if you look at from FY22 to FY23, when we were in a very severe bear market, look at how Angel One increases profit after tax, right? And you know the reason. Again telling you the reason, because of the super app and because of its high client acquisition into tier 2, 3, 4 cities. Okay, so basically what Angel One does is, which is a great thing that I see in this company, they give a monthly update. Okay, so every month they give out an update ke like पिछले महीने में, like in that last month, what has been their performance, which is amazing, right? Very few companies give a month on month update. So this is the May 2023 ka update that came out in June 1st. Right, again at the end of June, in July you will get the June ka update. I hope you get the point. So you see that they have given the April and the May ka number, so that, and also they've given you a YOY on a month-on-month basis as well, to help you understand where Angel One is progressing. So the first thing that you need to check here is like, look at you can check the client base, which is in millions, right? Can you see? Even the month-on-month increasing client base is 3.3%. And of course, like if you look at it on a YOY basis, it's 44.5%. Of course, this number from 10.1 million to 14.5 million. So can you see this? The client base, that means the volume growth is critical, right? Because for a broking company to make money, you have to constantly be on the, on the surge to increase more volumes, more and more demat accounts, rather than just relying on the existing demat account to make more money and more trading for you, right? So that's why you see a month-on-month growth as well as on a YOY growth. Second is, as I told you, right, I hope you guys remember that 70% of Angel One's money comes from broking. Broking means what? Both in derivatives, FNOs, as well as in cash delivery shares, right? So as I tell you, right, 70% जो broking है, उसका 85%. So 85% of that 70% comes from FNO trading, right? Can you see this? Out of overall, majority is FNO. So if you look at the average daily turnover, right? So if it is 22,000 billion rupees, out of which 21,000 billion comes from FNO. बाकी का cash and commodity segment है, which is not a big thing, right? So we should only focus on the FNO segment. And you can also see that the FNO segment keeps on growing even on a month-on-month basis, right? So this is something that you need to keep track of. Okay, like if you see that, you can even check out the BSE FNO derivative ka volume ka data on a month-on-month basis. You will also get a like fair idea. Like if you see that the FNO, so basically what happens, how do I know that a bull market is coming, is when you see that more and more people will be trading in FNO, right? And the FNO ka ADTO will keep on rising. So if you can clearly see here, I mean, of course, like YOY, it has gone up like 148%, but even on a month-on-month basis, it is still increasing by 0.1%, which is not a bad thing. And the last thing is the market share. Market share में क्या होता है कि like if you look at the whole NSE active client base, right? Out of that, कितना परसेंटेज एंजल वन का है, कितना परसेंटेज जेरोदा का है, कितना परसेंटेज कोटक का है, उस एंगल से अगर आप देखोगे तो इन दी होल FNO segment, right? Again, I'm focusing only on the FNO segment because FNO segment contributes most of the money of Angel One, right? So that's why हम FNO देखेंगे, cash wash नहीं देखेंगे. So In the F&O segment, can you see again the company has been growing on a month-on-month basis as well as on a YOY basis. So month-on-month basis may 8 basis points, and YOY basis, so it's like more than 4% or 400 basis points. So overall, a great monthly trend for Angel One, and it keeps on. So अगर आपने April का देखा, May का देखा, even March का भी आप देखते, in the last 3 to 4 months, like why the Angel One stock has gone up from 100 कितना 1000 से अभी 1600 1700 क्यों जा रहा है? Because their month on month data has been fantastic, including the last month of May. This is Angel One's Q4 FY23 update. This is Jan, Feb, March of this financial year, of the last financial year, sorry, of 2023. So you can clearly see here, right? So the company ka top line grew 22% YOY, 10% quarter on quarter. Bottom line mein you see bottom line ka growth is higher than top line growth, 30% ka YOY. That means they have operating leverage. When do you have operating leverage? When you have a bottom line ka growth or a PAT growth higher than your top line ka growth. Now here is the thing, right? Now you see why does Angel One gets operating leverage? Because unka majority jo investments tha in tech. Dekho, the point is that the tech investments in companies like Angel One will never grow because they are relying only on a super app, right? One app on the mobile phone. But having said that, the super app is now built. The major super app का जो API infrastructure था वो बना चुके हैं. So going forward, you just have to add that incremental client. उसके लिए remember that one slide we did where there is an upfront cost, right? सिर्फ वो upfront cost देना पड़ेगा, लेकिन the overall cost goes down because the super app is already built. Angel One has been building the super app for the last, I think, 18, 20, 25 months, right? And by the way, let me also tell you a fun fact about this company. पहले इस company का नाम हुआ करता था Angel Broking. Now the company is Angel One. Why one? Because now they understand the importance of digitization and they want to be a digital broker and not a physical broker, which they were with Angel Broking. So that's the one thing here. Okay. So now let's understand like what did the management say in the con call, right? That's what we do, right, with all companies, like, and the outlook that they give, which is very, very critical. So again, very simple, just read with me here, right? You can also pause the video and you can just, read these points, very simple. And I always write things like in a notes format here, right? So that it's very simple for you to understand. So 70% of Angel One's revenue come from broking business and 87% of the broking business is F&O trading. So Angel One में आपको सिर्फ F&O trading का वो जो ADTO है वो ट्रैक करना है, मार्केट शेयर भी F&O का ही देखना है, ठीक है? That's all you need to do. Who are the target customers of this company? Onboarding young cohorts with limited access to capital market. Now, who has limited access to capital market? All the people in tier 2, 3, 4 cities, right? So if you go to a tier 4 city and you target a 22-year-old, right, with limited access to capital market, you can get a long runway. That's why the company is giving you this 3 saal ka revenue ka projection, right? And the revenue to cost of acquisition. The Angel One Super App is providing these young digital natives a long runway in their career with sustainable revenue potential, right? That's the other point here. Now, you also want to have a strong foothold in mutual fund and insurance distribution. Now, here is the thing, right? If you are only in a distribution business, you might not get a lot of money from the distribution business, because let's say अगर आपने वहां पे कोई जनरल इंश्योरर, let's say ICICI लोम्बार्ड का कोई प्रोडक्ट बेचा, या आपने let's say for example कोई HDFC AMC का कोई एक फंड्स बेचा, Angel One might not make a lot of money from that one particular transaction, but if you have a plethora of financial financial products, then it helps the client to stay stuck to that one particular app, right? It is only because of this that they're into this distribution. They don't feel like the distribution business will ultimately overcome the broking business and all that. It's a broking company, but when you have insurance and your tax and your mutual funds and your stocks broking and F&O in one platform, it helps in client stickiness. That's why they're moving towards they're also moving towards mutual fund and insurance distribution. Okay. Revenue to cost of acquisition, which we already did, right? So revenue to cost of acquisition, this number will keep on rising, right? Because the cost of acquisition drastically reduces from year 2 for one particular client, correct? Because वो जो cost of acquisition है, वो जो first साल का है, second year में तो क्या है, वो सब maintenance का खर्चा है, इधर उधर का tech का खर्चा है. But the revenue अगर sustainable हो गया, तो revenue per cost of acquisition to be above 7x. मतलब अगर एक क्लाइंट का सेकेंड ईयर से सोचो, फ्रॉम द सेकेंड ईयर ऑनवर्ड्स, अगर उसके पीछे कंपनी को ₹1, लाइक इफ द कंपनी स्पेंड ₹1, द क्लाइंट मेक्स ₹7 फॉर द कंपनी. दैट्स हाउ यू कैन लुक एट इट. ओके, सो अगेन यू सॉ दिस डेटा, वो तो डेटाबेस, वो तो उसी पीपीटी से वो निकाला. 3.3% से क्लाइंट बेस इज ग्रोइंग अप ऑन अ मंथ ऑन मंथ बेसिस एंड 44% ऑन अ YOY. नाउ 3.3% on a month from April से May तक, correct? April 2023 to May 2023. Now, if you can just extrapolate this number 3.3 into 12, you will see that in the next fiscal भी जब वो YOY का comparison करेंगे FY23 to FY24, you will get another 35-40% growth in the active client base, which is amazing. So, and again, technology is the future in the broking industry, and digital brokers shall continue to survive and thrive. So only digital brokers are going to do well. So if you are a phygital broker or a physical broker, you will find it very hard to survive. Second thing is like you would see that even SEBI is coming out like broker, मतलब अगर आप regulations भी देखोगे, मतलब regulations भी tighter and tighter होते जा रहे हैं, right? Because now it's very important for every retail investor to feel safe in the stock market. So जितना टाइटन करोगे रेगुलेशन उतना ये छोटे मोटे लोकलाइज जो ब्रोकर्स होते हैं ना, इंदौर के ब्रोकर्स, मुंबई के ब्रोकर्स, कलकत्ता के ब्रोकर्स, दे विल रन आउट ऑफ बिजनेस एंड कंपनीज लाइक एंजल वन will get all their clients. Okay, so now what I'll do here is like I will show you the financial statements. So this is basically the summary, okay, but I'll show you the financial statements of, say, for example, how Angel One ka balance sheet, income statement and cash flow statement looks. Okay, so this is Angel One ka. So, okay, so now this is an income statement. So how are we going to read? We're going to read an income statement, then we are going to read a balance sheet and a cash flow statement. And yahan pe, please focus on the main things that I'm pointing out, because when you're reading an income statement, you should not be missing out on those points. First is, of course, you see, right? I mean, of course, like you saw, right? Okay, like the revenue growth on a quarter-on-quarter and a YOY has been great, right? You can see these numbers, correct? So now second is, for example, we look at profit after tax. You can see profit after tax has also grown, right? We have already shown this in one particular slide, right? I mean, 1 second, I think this was this one particular slide where I showed the numbers. Can you see revenue growth and PAT growth? They're actually taken from these numbers as well. Okay, now there are some other things you will need to take into consideration. Say, for example, whenever you look at a company, ठीक है, ये सिर्फ Angel One के लिए नहीं है, कोई भी company के लिए, for any company, you need to see some things like, say, for example, other income. So let's say you have other income here, and if you see this other income is getting bigger and bigger and is forming a bigger chunk of the total revenue, that means it's a red flag for you. But here you see there is no such problem, right? Majority उनका revenue from operations ही आते हैं, मतलब F&O trading से आ रहा है, इंटर मतलब वो पैसे थोड़ा उधार में देके इंटरेस्ट जो मिल रहा है वही से पैसे आ रहा है. So other income is not a problem. Second thing that you need to check is like employee benefit expenses, which is very critical. So say for example, अगर आप देखोगे कि like on a YOY basis, okay, on a YOY basis, the employee benefits are going down and down only. That means what? Are you exploiting your employees to, to increase sales? Because if you exploit employees, एक point के बाद you won't be able to grow revenues because आपके employees will leave you for some other broking companies. So whatever I'm telling right now is a general concept where you can apply to any companies, not only in Angel One. So employee benefit expense, can you see on a YOY basis, the numbers are pretty even here. Second point is collect, since it's a broking company, employees utna important nahi hai yahan pe. It's a app based company. Like if you look at WhatsApp, like how many employees did WhatsApp have? I think they had less than 100 employees when Facebook acquired them, correct? So I know and I understand कि like it matters from sector to sector as well. तो वो भी आपको दिमाग में रखना है. But generally अगर employee expenses अगर YOY घट नहीं रहा है, so that's a good sign. Okay. Again, having said that, कभी कभार क्या होता है ये PF contribution को recognize करना पड़ता है and all those things. I'm not going into that kind of details. उसके वजह से भी कभी कभार employee जो contributions है वो भी कभी कभार I mean that can go down and up. So you can just take those things into consideration. That's all you need to look at. Other income. Then you can look at employee benefit expenses. Other expenses also you can kindly see, like if the other expenses are shooting up like anything, then you have to like go and see like what are the which is the part in other expense, because other expenses are mostly like say marketing ka kharcha, auditor ka kharcha, then other expenses like say for example, I mean nothing else is coming to my mind, but as I okay, so now let's move on to the next part is the balance sheet and the cash flow statement. Let's start with the cash flow statement here. Okay. Now, here is this thing, right? We have to understand how cash is flowing in that company, correct? So how much cash that the company made from doing its operations, that is CFO. Okay, so now if you look at this number, net cash generated from operating activity. So this is in millions. So I can tell you it's 803 crores, right? That means by doing business throughout the year, Angel One has made 803 crores. That's how you should interpret it. By doing business for the entire fiscal FY22, they made 557 crore. So that means what? That means their operating cash flows have gone up by 45% on a YOY basis. That's great, right? Because FY22 में उन्होंने जितना पैसे बनाया, cash बनाया from that business, this year they got 45% more cash. So that's a great sign. Second is like what we need to check is this. Like say for example, there's an income statement where the company shows profits, and there is a cash flow statement, right, where the company shows how much cash they got. So say for example, I need my income and my cash flows to be at par, right? Because take an example, if my income is 100 and the cash I got is 10, then that means what? That means मेरा income का majority पैसा अभी client से आया नहीं है. I haven't got that money from my clients, right? So that's not a good sign for that company. So if I'm making 100 rupees ka profits, I should be making around 100 rupees ka cash, right? So for that, we need to check this one particular ratio, which is called cash flow from operations to net income. What is cash flow from operations here? It's 803 crore, right? That's the numerator. Now, what is net income? How do you calculate net income? You have to go to the income statement. This is the income statement. And here you see profit for the period. Again, same period, we have to compare for the same period only. This is 889 crore, right? So 803 divided by 889. So the number is more or less 1, which is absolutely fine, right? So if I see a company ka cash flow to net income is between 0.7 to 1.3, I am okay. थोड़ा इधर उधर हो ही जाता है ना, because कभी clients का payment का date थोड़ा delay हो जाता है and all that. But Angel One में क्या है? Angel One में payments का delay नहीं होता है. There isn't much delay. Why? Because they're in the broking business. Because every time when you are buying a stock or selling a stock, आपका वो जो brokerage तो कटता ही रहता है, right? Dynamically. So this company, again, having said that, doesn't have much issues when it comes to receivables and payables. So let's go into that part. So पहले तो हमने क्या देखा कि cash from operations has gone up by 45% and CFO to net income is close to 1. So the profits that they're showing is almost equal to the cash that they're making, which is amazing. Next is we have to break the cash flow from operations. Why? Because think about this. You start a cash flow from operations by starting with profit before tax, right? Company ने profit before tax कितना किया? Then you add depreciation, right? And then you see what are the investments that the company has made in two places, working capital and fixed capital. Correct? यही तो है, right? In a business. And that has to be seen in the cash flow statement. Like, what is the flow? So if you look at profit before tax here, of course, it has gone up, right? From 836 crore to 1191 crore. Right now, once you have added depreciation, you get the operating profit before working capital changes. Now here you can see what are the working capital investments that the company has made. That means for what? That means, say for example, if you are not paying your suppliers and you're keeping cash with you, then your trades payables will go up. That's the funda, right? Say for example, second is receivables. When will receivables go up? Receivables are going to go up when, let's say for example, your customers are not paying you. Got it? And by the way, if there is a bracket here, that means money has gone out of the business. And if there is no bracket, that means the money is with the business. So we want a business where money stays with the business as much as possible. So out of 1330 crores here. Now understand this. If you can clearly see here that there is a minute increase in payables over last year. Last year there was a huge increase in payables. Okay, 1790 crores ka. But on top of that, we have only increased it by 4.5 to 5 crores in this year. So trade payables have gone up. That means what? The company isn't paying its supplier. And पिछले साल से इस साल में they haven't paid them by an increase of 4.6 crore. That means for 4.6 crore is still with the company in cash. That's why it's a positive number, which will be added to this number. I hope you get the point here. Got it? Second is, say for example, increase and decrease in bank balances. Let's take this number. Let's say this number is 905 crore. That means इन्होंने banks में कोई fixed deposit किया हो. They must have done some fixed deposit or something. So money has gone out of the business, right? That's why it's a negative number. So ये बन जाता है. दूसरे एंगल से if you see like purchase of plant property equipment, now they don't purchase any plant property equipment. They are an app making company, but their major investments is into technology. So this year, if you can see here, they have spent around 114 crores compared to around 69 crores in the last fiscal. So that means what, their investments have also doubled. So that's one thing. Okay, the other thing now, which we need to focus on is the cash flow from financing. And can you see here, the company has paid a lot of dividends. So the dividends have also gone up from 208 crores to 375 crores. So the dividends are up by 80% on a YOY basis, right? So which is like a payout of 40%. What is a payout of 40%? So if you see the number of profits, what was the profit after tax? Around 800 crores they made, right? And out of 800 crores, the company has paid dividends of 375 crores. So 375 divided by 800 is a dividend payout ratio of around 40%. So these are the things that you need to keep in mind when you're watching a cash flow statement, any company ka cash flow statement. And my job is to go through all these statements for each and every company so that it gets ingrained in your head. Okay. Now the other important thing is to calculate the return on equity. Return on equity का मतलब क्या है कि what is the money that the company is making on its shareholders equity. Shareholder money में company कितना पैसा बना रहा है. Return on equity का formula is very simple, is net income divided by shareholder equity. Now net income आपको पता है कहाँ है? Net income is part of the income statement. So what was net income here? Net income was around 890 crores for FY23. Now equity देखने के लिए हमें balance sheet में जाना पड़ेगा. And if you go to balance sheet, you come to equity ka part here, you will see that the equity part is this 2078, right? That is the other equity. Of course, you can also calculate 83 plus 2078. So if you do 890 divided by 83 plus 2078, the return on equity of the company will come out to be 43%. So when you have a return on equity of 30, 40, 50%, it shows that that business itself is a very low capex business. मतलब अगर आप देखोगे कोई company in the manufacturing space can't have a return on equity of 40, 50%. Any company in the cap goods space or any company in the infra space or in the railway space. Like since it's a broking company, so इसलिए ROE कम है. Sorry, ROE बहुत ज़्यादा है. Okay, and again, having said that, there is one more thing you can check in the balance sheet is like debt to equity कितना है. So if you look at the total sources of capital, 7477 crores लेके business कर रहा है, which is the total source of capital. उसमें से equity है इसका एक major part. Equity अगर आप देखोगे तो is a major part in this business. So अगर आप liabilities business का देखोगे, liability का main ऐसा नहीं कि like they have a lot of debt. Can you see that there is hardly any borrowings? Right, so they had some borrowings other than debt security which they have reduced. Okay, so इनका borrowings घटा है. और दूसरे एंगल से आप देखोगे the outstanding dues of creditors, right? मतलब इनका जो suppliers को है, जो short term payment है, वो एक बड़ा amount है, which is 4069 crores, right? So you can see this out of 7477 crore, कुछ approximately like 55-60% है आपका payables, right? So that is payables, मतलब वो एक साल के अंदर they would give it back, right? And the remaining is equity, which is like around 2500 crore. So that means क्या इनका कुछ उतना कुछ debt है नहीं, और जो भी debt है they are also reducing it. So that's how you look at a balance sheet, cash flow statement, and an income statement. So if I can just go back to this slide. Okay. Yeah, can you now see these are the parameters? You can of course like pause the video, and next time you open any balance sheet or income statement or cash flow statement or any other company, just make sure you go through these pointers and see like where the company is headed. Okay, तो अभी हम दूसरे कंपनी में चलते हैं, CAMS. ठीक है, सो CAMS क्या करता है, तो हम थोड़ा जल्दी करते हैं बिकॉज एंजल वन हैज टेकन अप अ लॉट ऑफ टाइम. सो CAMS क्या करते हैं, बेसिकली वो म्यूचुअल फंड्स का एक डिजिटल प्लेटफॉर्म बिजनेस है. ठीक है, टू सर्व द म्यूचुअल फंड कंपनीज एंड इट्स क्लाइंट्स. सो अगर हम थोड़े से इसके साथ पढ़े, जस्ट गेट इनटू दिस स्लाइड शो हियर. Yeah, so it's a tech-driven financial infrastructure company to service the mutual funds and its unit holders. मतलब say for example, आज मैं एक म्यूचुअल फंड हूँ and let's say I have 10,000 clients. Okay, तो सोचिए हर क्लाइंट का कितने सारे डिमांड होगा, right? Because you have to pay dividends to every client, right? You have to open their accounts, you have to maintain their accounts, you have to solve their queries, right? There will be many clients who might have problems logging in. There might be many clients who might have many other different kinds of queries, right? So ये जो सारे चीजें हैं, a mutual fund cannot handle all these things. So what they have done it, they have given the responsibility to CAMS. So what CAMS do is collect, they have a tech-driven financial infrastructure and a background. So अगर आप let's say for example, अगर आप let's say आदित्य बिरला सन लाइफ का म्यूचुअल फंड का यूनिट होल्डर हो, so you would see that you have a login ID and a password, जहां से there is a login page. So who has made that page? The page is made by CAMS. तो वो जो infrastructure है, the entire infrastructure on which the mutual fund products are there. Let's say for example, the client is trying to buy some units of the mutual fund in the next one particular month. Let's say वो units खरीद के टाइम उनको कोई प्रॉब्लम हो रहा है, तो तब भी वो जो कॉल सेंटर को कॉल करेगा, the call center is handled by CAMS. ठीक है, so what is CAMS called? CAMS is called an RTA. RTA is Register and Transfer Agent for the mutual fund houses. They services 10 to 15 largest fund houses in India. Now, what are the services that they provide? Very simplistically, I have a figure as well. एक PPT से एक diagram भी है for more clarity, but यहाँ पे just for simplistic understanding, account creation, ठीक है? When a new person comes in, wants to do mutual fund and he wants to start his account, तो उसमें भी CAMS helps. Processing the entire thing, investing when the client is putting the money for the first time, and then redemption as well, right? Because mutual fund investors come and they can redeem anytime they want, right? So when they press the redemption button, it should ensure that they get the money within the stipulated period of time, right? 2 दिन के अंदर आनी चाहिए, right? There shouldn't be a delay and all that. So CAMS takes the responsibility of all these works for a mutual fund company, and they get paid by the mutual fund houses. So what are the other services they provide? Reporting and accounting. Because so Chena, if you have 10,000 clients, right, and they are doing transactions at different part of the day, at different times of the year, correct? So you need to have an accounts of everything, right? कि कितना credit हो रहा है, कितना debit हो रहा है, everything. Dividend distribution is very, very critical, right? कि like कौन से client के पास कौन सा funds है, अब let's say any one particular company declares a dividend, right? So अभी हमको देखना पड़ेगा, CAMS को देखना पड़ेगा कि कोई mutual fund में अगर उसका मतलब यूनिट होल्डर से ऑफ दैट वन पर्टिकुलर शेयर, तो उन यूनिट होल्डर्स के पास कितना स्टॉक्स है, फिर उस तरीके से डिविडेंड को डिस्ट्रीब्यूट करना पड़ेगा. सो इट्स अ कॉम्प्लेक्स प्रोसीड्यूर दैट कैम्स डज फॉर द म्यूचुअल फंड्स. सो कॉल सेंटर सर्विस, ब्रोकरेज computations as well, right? Because if you're buying units and you're selling units, you need to pay a brokerage as well, just like in stocks, right? And again, managing high volumes of transactions and stability to the platform, very critical, right? Because if you have a mutual fund platform, like let's say if you have an AGDFC mutual fund platform, there are hundreds of people who are trying to log in every second, hundreds, thousands of people who are trying to log in. So ensure that the platform doesn't crash. So वो भी CAMS का responsibility है. So CAMS do not make money unless, so it's a I mean, I should have written this in a better language. CAMS do not make more money unless there is an AUM growth in the mutual fund. So basically क्या होता है? So if let's say CAMS is managing 10 mutual funds, okay, 10 mutual funds are using CAMS ka pura platform and all the CAMS ka services, which I just mentioned here, right, in this paragraph, right? And let's say the total amount of money that the mutual fund manages is 100 that year. And let's say CAMS make 1% of that AUM. So CAMS make kitna paisa at the end of the year? ₹1. Correct. Now in the next year, if the AUM doesn't grow, right, of the mutual funds, let's say if the AUM grows from 100 to 150, then CAMS make 1% of 150 now. That means 1.5 rupees. So you can come and tell me, oh, look, CAMS ka revenues have gone up by 50%. I mean, of course, I'm saying this in a very simplistic way, but that's how it works. But I'll tell you the problem here is, like, so if you see that the AUM growth in the mutual fund industry has been very tepid over the past few quarters, as a result of which CAMS का भी revenue का growth नहीं आ रहा है. So यही बनता है issue अभी with CAMS. Okay, so you can just pause the video, because all the services that CAMS provide to a mutual fund company and to its clients, it's given here, right? Right from being a transfer agent service, customer care, knowledge partner, business enabler. So you can just pause the video and you can just read about all these things. You'll understand it's pretty simple. Okay, again, same thing, all the other services as well. Another slide here, front office, back office, all the things that CAMS do. Can you see this? Like even they do, things like anti-money laundering services as well, suspicion transactions as well, compliance as well, reporting as well, everything. So it's basically, if you are a mutual fund company, you will go to a CAMS and say, like my job is to handle my clients. My job is to, build good portfolios, bring in new schemes, like a debt scheme, hybrid scheme, equity scheme, whatever we bring in, you take care of the back end. Okay, so CAMS is basically a good proxy play for the mutual fund growth in this country. So that's how, again, you can pause the video and you can read this. But here is the problem here, right, with CAMS here. Why do I don't buy the stock? Is because CAMS का कोई मतलब mutual funds का AUM का growth नहीं है. Can you see from June 2022 से March 2023, अगर मैं 9 महीने का period लूँ, there is hardly any growth in AUM. This is basically AUM or the amount of money that CAMS manages. So CAMS total 28 trillion manage करता है. मतलब उनका जितना भी म्यूचुअल फंड्स है जो CAMS के प्लेटफॉर्म यूज करते हैं, they totally handle 28 trillions today. And can you see they were handling 26 trillion about 9 to 10 months back. So उतना कुछ growth नहीं आ रहा है. So इसलिए CAMS isn't making much money. Okay, so basically first thing, very, very critical for CAMS here, कि CAMS का market share has also gone down by 2% in the last 5 to 8 quarters. Because back in 2021, when I used to read the PPT, so उस time पे CAMS का 70% market share था. But now if you read the latest PPT Q4 का, the market share has dropped to 68%, which is never good for the stock. Second is flatline top line and bottom line का कोई growth नहीं है. Of course, you understand why, because mutual fund AUMs are not going up. Mutual fund retail participation remained muted in FY23, of course, right? Because FY23 was a terrible year for the stock market, right? Interest rates were going up, people were moving money from stocks to bonds, right? So bonds were becoming more attractive. And of course, this time in a bear market, people lose their enthusiasm and the will to put more and more money in the stock market. So as a result of which, the AUM did not go up. So CAMS also did not make much money. No outlook by the management generally. तो कोई outlook नहीं दिया management को जब उनको पूछा गया था. So here now, 80% of now, here is the revenue breakup of CAMS. 80% revenue of CAMS comes from providing various services to mutual fund houses. What are the services? These are all the services. This and this are all the services, which we have already mentioned. And 20% revenues comes from paper-based transactions of AMCs. So say, for example, if an AMC wants to get listed, there are millions of paperworks, right? Who handles those paperworks? That is CAMS. So these paper-based transactions are mostly an annual kind of a fee, but this 80% revenue from CAMS that is providing these services ultimately boils down to the AUM ka growth of the mutual fund houses. So what are the financials here? Again, let's go and check the financials. Yeah, so this is CAMS. CAMS there are certain things I did not like, unlike Angel One. If you look at CAMS, let's first start with, again, like you can clearly see here that CAMS ka revenue ka growth hai hi nahi. Can you see this? मतलब वही 23, 23, 24, just as we said. And even if you look at the profit per period, कुछ ज्यादा changes है नहीं. So profit after tax और revenues grow नहीं किया. You now know the reason why. Because of a bear market चल रहा है and AUM का growth नहीं हो रहा है. Other income, not a big issue, right? It's a very small amount compared to total income, so we can avoid that. Again, second is employee benefit expenses. Again, having said that, look at this on a YOY basis, the numbers have like increased to a small extent, which is good. That means they are not exploiting their employees. Other expenses as well has gone up. I mean, not exactly in proportionate with revenues, but again, revenue ka number, from operations is a far larger number than other expenses. So sometimes, the percentage increase also doesn't make sense because we are comparing a big larger number here with a much smaller number here. So that's more or less it here. Now let's go to the cash flow statement here. Now clearly, can you see this? The last year ka profit before tax was more than this financial year ka profit before tax. That clearly shows that CAMS made less money in FY23 than they made in FY22, right? And of course, you add depreciation, all that, you can clearly see this. The net cash flow in operating activities, like of course, after the changes in working capital, the number is flat, right? So you see, this is where Angel One is better than CAMS here, right? Because Angel One grew its cash flow from operations by 45% in FY23, where CAMS ka ekdam flat hai. Second side mein, if you see this, like I didn't like this other thing is like inka investments bhi utna ho nahi raha. Like if you see Angel One ka investments in plant property equipment, which is like in their tech and all, they were increased. I mean, they were increasing like 1.5 to 2x ban gaya tha. CAMS ka you can see from last year, they spent around, this is I think in lakhs, they spent around 60 crores, right, in their infrastructure. But this year, I mean, in FY23, they spent only 36 crores in infrastructure. So that means they're also not investing as well that much, which probably they should be going forward. Okay, and the other thing is like dividend, which has stayed consistent. Of course, dividend has to be consistent because the company hasn't made more cash, right? The cash flow from operation has remained consistent. So how would they pay more dividends? Yet having said that, they've given a large chunk of their profits in dividends, 184 crores. So अगर मैं CAMS का बात करूं, CAMS का भी अगर आप देखोगे, dividend payout ratio is pretty high. Okay, so ये बनता है. You can just go back to the, if you look at the CFO to net income, again, how do you look at CFO? You calculate CFO here, 316 crore. And if you look at net income is this period 274. So CFO to net income is 1.2, which shows that the money that CAMS are getting are mostly in cash. That is absolutely fine. That's why you do the CFO to net income. Book value has gone up by 21% on a YOY basis. Book value is nothing but the company ka value, where you can clearly see here, like from 60 to 72, which is at 21%, which is also not bad. And of course, the balance sheet is super strong for any other capital markets companies ke tarah, and there is no asset liability mismatch. Asset liability mismatch ka matlab ye hai when current asset is less than current liability. So say for example, for this company, you see current liability is 155 crore, okay, and the current asset is 573 crore. So current asset by current liability is around 4:1 ke aspas, 3.5 to 4:1. Now what happens if this number is less than 1? What if current asset was 150 crore and current liability was 500 crore. It means the company was taking money short term, and the company was borrowing money short term, and then the company was deploying money in long term assets. वो नहीं करना चाहिए. That's called asset liability mismatch. So in order to see how good or bad a balance sheet is, you always have to see whether the current asset number is more than the current liability numbers. Okay, I think we are done with CAMS here. So now let's go to that last company, CDSL. So basically CDSL क्या है? CDSL का business model is very simple. It is a depository. Now what is depository? So I know every guy, every person like who will be listening to this one particular workshop owns some stocks, right? So CDSL है वो gatekeeper. CDSL है वो वाला बंदा जो आपका stocks का देखभाल करता है, security guard है वो. ठीक है, that's the role of depository. So depositories are basically kept for safeguarding of stocks for its shareholders. So ऐसा नहीं होनी चाहिए कि today I give some money right to my broker and I buy some stocks and tomorrow I lose those stocks. It can't happen that way. And since it's digitized, companies like CDSL and uska competitor hai NSDL, they have come in and both try to safeguard the stocks for its shareholders. Okay, so a depository institution is responsible for holding and safeguarding your security. That's the main job of CDSL, and they get paid for that. Just a security guard gets paid for for protecting a building. यहाँ पे भी CDSL gets paid via transaction volumes and all that. We'll go into that a little bit of detail में. पहले इसको देखते हैं. So CDSL is the registered owners of stocks, and investors are beneficiary owners. So these are the technical terms that you use, and the stockbrokers are called the depository participants. So who are the owners of the stock here generally? Let's say for example, आज मैंने एक TCS का share खरीदा, ठीक है? That CDSL remains the registered owner of the TCS का stock. But then the beneficiary owner of the TCS ka stock becomes you because you have paid money to buy the TCS ka stock. And who has helped you to buy that stock is your broker, right? So your broker is your depository participant. So a depository is CDSL, you are the beneficiary owner, and there is a depository participant who is connecting CDSL with you, because you cannot go directly to CDSL and say, okay, I want to buy TCS ka stock. You have to go through CDSL. You have to go to the depository through a depository participant. I hope you're getting the point here, right? It's very simple actually. So basically your brokerage companies, and of course, since your brokerage company is also helping you, so basically now you understand when you buy a stock and when you give brokerage, right, your entire fee is divided between CDSL, NSDL, and your brokerage companies as well. Right. So over 70% of demat accounts of India are with CDSL. So that means CDSL is the market leader, not NSDL. What they're also trying to do right now in their business model, they're trying to be account aggregators. Account aggregators का मतलब ये है, आज आप सोचिए, like generally for one particular person, उनका insurance का documents are different from, let's say, their stocks का documents, correct? What CDSL is trying to do is like come up with a common depository where एक बंदे का, एक इंसान का, उसका जो stock broking हो या insurance हो या any commodities he owns comes under one particular umbrella. Right, so that is what they're trying to do here. They're trying to become an account aggregator, and they're actually spending a lot of money to build this whole insurance and commodity ka repository. Okay, so that's the next, and what CDSL also feels like ये उनके company का अगला जो growth avenues आने वाले हैं वो insurance और commodity से आने वाले हैं. Because if you look at this, like what has happened here, if you see, people used to buy stocks in paper mode, correct? 20-30 years back during, let's say, the Harshad Mehta time. Now they have shifted from paper to, let's say, a digital. Like for example, when we did Angel Broker, like Angel One, right? Angel One is a digital broker. कोई paper है नहीं, सब paperless है, cashless है, right? So with stocks, people have done that, but with insurance, CDSL is trying to do the same thing, right? Okay, they will take the physical paper, the insurance contracts of their clients, and they would want to turn it into, say, for example, I don't know whether they're trying to turn it into a share or something. I don't think share to hoga nahi, but then everything should come in a paperless format under one particular platform. Got it? So that's what they're trying to do with insurance, what they did with stocks. Because right now, I don't think anybody who holds paper stocks, except like some people who are very old. But aajkal ke zamane mein, with the young cohorts coming in, they all open accounts in Zerodha or Angel One, and they just, they just ensure that, they just buy stocks digitally, right? So there is no paper involved. So CDSL stays in the whole journey of a listed entity. मतलब क्या? Now let's understand how do they make money. So when a company का जब IPO आता है, right? So the stocks has to be listed with BSE and NSE थ्रू CDSL, तो वहां पे CDSL बनाता है. Since a company is listed on the stock exchange, they have to pay an annual maintenance fee to CDSL as well every year. तो वहां से भी कंपनी से वो CDSL पैसे बनाते हैं. इवन जब एक कंपनी डीलिस्ट भी करता है तब भी CDSL को पैसा देके डीलिस्ट करना पड़ता है वो स्टॉक को. सो CDSL स्टेज मतलब क्या, मतलब हमारे कंट्री में जब तक स्टॉक्स रहेंगे हमारे BSE NSE में, CDSL will get paid. So this is how to understand the business model of CDSL. Now, the depository participants acts as intermediaries between CDSL and the investors. Who are investors? Investors are called the beneficiary owners. Okay. So थोड़ा सा अभी डिटेल में अगर हम देखते हैं स्लाइड शोज में जाके, व्हाट आर द सर्विसेज ऑफ CDSL, एज आई टोल्ड यू. एक है कि E-KYC प्रोवाइड करना. मतलब क्या, से फॉर एग्जांपल CDSL हैज द होल रिपोजिटरी, हैज द होल डेटाबेस. तो से फॉर एग्जांपल इफ अ पर्सन कम्स इन एंड ओपन्स अ डीमैट अकाउंट, तो फिर उसका जो डीमैट अकाउंट खोलने वाला जो कंपनी है, लेट्स से एंजल वन, दे हैव टू फेच द KYC डिटेल्स, राइट. सो CDSL का जो रिपोजिटरी से जब कोई KYC का डेटा फेच करने आते हैं, CDSL चार्जेस अ वन टाइम फी. सो एक टाइम फेच के लिए एक बार फी. So right, so E-KYC, electronic know your customer के लिए they charge, right. And of course, I mean, like again, if you see this seamless processing of data between the depository participant and CDSL, मतलब हमारा जितना भी data processing होता है, say for example के if let's say you would see, right, you will get those SMSs, you would get those emails के like पूरे दिन में आपने कितना ट्रेड किया in FNO, पूरे दिन में आपने कितने कैश डिलीवरी में स्टॉक्स खरीदा, हफ्ते में कितना किया. Then they would also send you an email, what are the profits and losses you made in the last 1 month, right. ये सब जो कैलकुलेशन करके आपको जो ईमेल भेजता है वो तो CDSL करता है, right, and they get paid for that by your broker. मतलब आप ही पे करते हो बट आपके ब्रोकर और आपके थ्रू से जाता है पैसा. See, now you see know your customers का जो KRA बनता है, and of course electronic signature, ये सब CDSL का सर्विसेज है. But here is the thing now, correct? Now CDSL का मेन बिजनेस का रेवेन्यू कहां से आते हैं? You will understand it if you just follow this bar charts here. I mean, just look at this bar chart. उनका मेन रेवेन्यूज आता है फ्रॉम ट्रांजैक्शन चार्जेस, राइट. ट्रांजैक्शन चार्जेस मींस वॉल्यूम्स, राइट. मतलब लोग जितना FNO ट्रेडिंग करेंगे, जितना एक्टिवली डेली मतलब डिलीवरी में ट्रेडिंग करेंगे, CDSL मेक्स मनी ऑन ट्रांजैक्शन चार्जेस. CDSL हो या आपका ब्रोकरेज कंपनी हो लाइक एंजल वन, ठीक है. तो अगर आप देखोगे द ट्रांजैक्शन वॉल्यूम्स हैव कम डाउन, राइट. व्हाई? सेम लॉजिक. FY23 वाज अ टेरेबल ईयर, बेयर मार्केट चल रहा था, जबकि अब देखे होंगे निफ्टी सेंसेक्स कुछ ऊपर नहीं जा रहा था, एंड इसके वजह से क्या हुआ, CDSL is also affected, which also shows that CDSL is not a consumer tech company. CDSL is a cyclical company. दूसरे अगर आप देखोगे कि ये जो IPO चार्जेस है, they have also come down. If I could have shown you FY21 का डेटा, CDSL made a lot of money because FY21 में बहुत कंपनीज, इफ यू लुक एट 2020 में सब नाइका, कार्ट्रेड, पेटीएम, जोमेटो, इन सबका IPOs आया था, करेक्ट. तो जितना IPO लिस्ट होगा, CDSL will be paid more. But again, having said that, bear market में तो IPOs भी नहीं आता है. IPOs don't come out in a bear market. That is why if you can see also, even the IPO का भी volumes have come down. तो CDSL यहाँ भी उनको धक्का खाया. Now annual issuer charges, that is the strongest figure. What is annual issuer charges? So any stock, if it is listed and CDSL is providing all those services, right, so they have to pay an annual maintenance fee, right. But this can't grow, correct. So the annual maintenance fee cannot grow 20-30%. उसके लिए तो 20-30% मतलब लेवल से नया कंपनीज को लिस्ट करना पड़ेगा, which is not possible, correct. So वो हो गया. बाकी का तो उतना बोलने लायक कुछ है नहीं, like they have this data charges and they have also investment incomes, right, because CDSL जितना पैसा, the money that they come, they also put that in treasury securities and all that, on which they make some investment income. Now again, having said that, why does the CDSL stock suffered? Why did the CAMS का stock suffered? Same logic. Top line का growth नहीं हुआ. If you can see the income, right, the income on a YOY basis has gone down 148 to 144 crore, and even net profits as well. Can you see from 78 crores to 263 crores? So that means what? यहाँ पे पैट का डिग्रोथ हुआ है और यहाँ पे रेवेन्यू का डिग्रोथ हुआ है. So जब तक इनका टॉप लाइन का ग्रोथ और बॉटम लाइन का ग्रोथ नहीं आएगा, the stocks won't start going up. Okay, so again you can see depository activity and data entry. This is another way of showing you the revenue ka breakup, right? So depository activities including all those things like annual maintenance charges and also the transaction volume charges. What was the management commentary? Again, like very bearish kind of a commentary because retail participation remained muted. One thing, 31% reduction of delivery volumes हुआ है across exchanges in FY23, which has led to lower transactional volumes. So मतलब delivery volumes FY22 में जो था, FY23 में delivery volumes reduced by 31%. It only happens in a bear market. So आगे जब bull market आएगा, then of course the delivery volumes will again go up, right? And that means CDSL will make more money from the transaction space. So ये तो जस्ट एक मतलब ज्ञान है. टोटल डीमैट अकाउंट्स इंडिया में 11.3 करोड़ है, बट यूनिक अगर आप देखोगे डीमैट होल्डर्स, दैट्स आई थिंक अराउंड 4.5 करोड़ के आसपास. सो आउट ऑफ 11.5 करोड़, 8.3 करोड़ इज विथ CDSL. 8.3 करोड़ डीमैट अकाउंट को सर्विस करता है, which is 70% market share. Now, which are the other revenue drivers? Like, of course, we talked about the transaction revenues depending on delivery volumes. Annual fee paid by the companies to have shares in the demat format, right? Because demat format में अगर share है, तो तब तो CDSL पैसा कमाएगा, correct? Because CDSL helps you to shift from the, from the physical to the demat format and helps you to maintain it. KYC fetching charges from the repository, e-AGM and e-voting. This is one more thing here. After COVID, you would see that, that many companies are doing an e-AGM. मतलब online में annual general meeting करते हैं. पहले in pre-COVID, what used to happen? Like people were used to call to Mumbai and Pune के like, come here, we'll do an AGM. But now the AGMs have been e-AGM. मतलब online हो रहा है. So who sets up all these things? ताकि ये AGM online में एकदम मतलब frictionless हो and everybody can answer questions and do this thing in a hassle-free way. CDSL करवाता है, and of course CDSL gets paid for that by the company. So KYC business depends a lot on the IPO market. Of course, KYC IPO market में क्यों depend करता है? Because सोचिए, when the LIC IPO came out, there were so many new people who entered the stock market, opened a demat account, thinking that I'm going to get allotted an LIC का stock during the IPO, right? So when every new person comes in, उसका तो KYC fetch करना पड़ेगा, correct? So that is when brokerages go and fetch the KYC details from businesses like CDSL. So CDSL makes money. So when the IPO market dries up, KYC का business, which is a part of business of CDSL, which I've already showed you, वो भी dry up हो जाता है. The reduced number of IPOs in FY23 impacted demat accounts by 35%, and that reduced the KYC business of CDSL. So I guess now you guys understand कि CDSL का business क्या है. I'll just finish this workshop up with the financials of this company. So I'll go to CDSL. CDSL का हालत तो और भी बुरा है. If you can just see here. हाँ. You can again see YOY, there is no increase in top line, right? And if you look at bottom line as well, you can clearly see that profit after tax has fallen both on a YOY as well as on a QOQ basis. Second is, if you look at cash flow statements, you will clearly see that this company ka cash flow from operations has actually come down by more than 10%, from 283 crore to 248 crore, right? From FY22 to FY23, right? Why has it come down? It has come down because the profit before tax has come down. So of course, this will have come down. The good thing about this company is like they are investing a lot in creating those repositories. Right? Can you see this? Like this here, they have invested a lot of money. So out of 248 crores, they have deployed almost 200 crores into investing in creating those subsidiaries and into creating all these repositories and all the tech. Right? Compared to last year, the investments have been pretty higher. So, and the other thing is, of course, like, can you see, like, that's it. I think that's more or less it. The other thing is like they have increased dividends. I mean, I did not like this part because if your cash flows are going down, why are you paying more dividends? Okay, but then they have, of course, given a dividend of 156 crore compared to 94 crores of last year. Okay. So now I think I am done with these companies. Yeah, so just valuations and cyclicality, and of course, what's my investment opinion? What I'll do is I'll probably stop the presentation. Yeah, so just talk about valuations. Let me tell you, first thing is like capital market stocks do well in a bull market, because in a bull market, everybody comes in and does FNO trading and everybody gets benefited, right? From the exchange like BSE, NSE हो गया, उसके बाद आपका depositories हो गया like CDSL, NSDL. Then of course the depository participants like Angel One, and of course like the entire ecosystem gets benefited in a bull market. So right now I feel like we are entering into a bull market, and that's what you see, right? If you look at the, as I told you, like when I was going through the whole Angel One ka presentation, I showed you, right, like how their FNO transactions and the ADTO number is going up. Even if you look at the entire BSE mein jaake ADTO ka transactions, you will also see those numbers are going up. So matlab agar FNO transactions are going up on a month on month basis, it clearly shows that those companies that you know that we are in a verge of a bull market. And the bull market इसीलिए और आ सकता है because of the fact के like अभी आगे जाके everybody is anticipating a rate cut by the US. जब रेट कट होता है वहां पे तो all the FII money which left India after 2021 are going to come back. And if you see that FII money have started to come back in, and this is why you see like you see those rallies in mid cap and small caps as well, जो पिछले 1.5 साल में आप नहीं देख रहे थे. So that's another thing. Now, out of these three companies, these three are the companies that I believe are the biggest beneficiaries of a bull market. होनी चाहिए, right? क्योंकि एक आप देखोगे डिपॉजिटरी चलाते हैं, मतलब 70% मार्केट शेयर. दूसरा है जो म्यूचुअल फंड्स का पूरा आरटीए है, मतलब 70% इंडिया का म्यूचुअल फंड्स वहां पे वो जकड़ के रखा है. एक जकड़ के रखा है सारे स्टॉक्स को, 70% ऑफ शेयर्स इन इंडिया, एक 70% ऑफ म्यूचुअल फंड्स है. And of course, Angel One, which is a listed digital broker, right? Now, this covers the entire spectrum. Now, you guys know like that I have invested in Angel One for the last 3 to 4 months because I've been tracking the FNO data and I've been investing accordingly, right? Now, here is the thing now. I haven't invested in CDSL or CAMS. Why? Because you see, like the results unka bahut depressing hai. I would want CDSL and CAMS ka numbers to improve before I put in my money in it. I'm not saying Angel One के जैसा और कोई पैसा नहीं बनाएगा. But all I'm saying is, if you had checked out Angel One का number, their CFO went up by 45%, their profits went up by 30%, their client base went up by 50%. I'm talking YOY in FY23. राइट. सो देयर इज बिजनेस मोमेंटम इन दैट बिजनेस. इसलिए आप देखो कि उसका स्टॉक भी भागना चालू कर दिया कंपेयर टू से दी अदर टू बिजनेसेस जिसका स्टॉक्स अभी भी आर लैगिंग. आई मीन आई एम टॉकिंग अबाउट कैम्स एंड CDSL. सो बट आल्सो हैविंग सेड दैट, आल्सो रिमेंबर दिस थिंग, एवरी बुल मार्केट में पीपल थिंक दैट these stocks are secular in nature, but I have given enough proof in this one particular workshop कि कैसे वॉल्यूम्स के साथ, वॉल्यूम ऑफ ट्रेडिंग के साथ लिंक्ड है इनका इनकम, whether it's Angel One, CDSL or CAMS here. If mutual funds AUMs don't go up, CAMS will never make more money. CAMS का पैट नहीं बढ़ेगा तो CAMS का स्टॉक कभी नहीं बढ़ सकता है. ठीक है, the AUM has to go up and AUMs go up in a bull market, not in a bear market. So that means these are all cyclical stocks here. So if you are buying, so what is my biggest worry here with Angel One is like, as the stock keeps going up and up and up, I have to be more and more agile. So Angel One is not a stock that I would keep buying on the way up. That's one thing. I actually bought a lot in a big chunk here, probably like before Q4 ka results came out actually. But having said that, the higher the stocks go, right, the riskier it becomes, because जब ये साइकिल घूमेगा भी ना तो ये स्टॉक पहले 30-40% गिरता है, और वो गिरता है एकदम एक वर्टिकल शिफ्ट में जैसे गिरता है. So be very careful when you're buying these companies. Although having said that, I might be panicking a bit too early, right? But here my focus is to ensure that I protect my money. वो सबसे important है, rather than say, for example, कि how much more money I can make. So that's more or less about it. You guys, of course, can reach out to me individually with your doubts on Angel One, CAMS and CDSL. Q1 में पता चलेगा कि लिए CAMS and CDSL का अगर let's say if अगर उनका volume growth, top line का growth, bottom line का growth आता है, I might start building position in CDSL, which is a company that I really like, but I can't buy because I just don't want to buy a company because it's high quality, right? I mean, all the three companies are high quality, but I need earnings momentum, or else पैसा तो नहीं बनेगा मेरा, वो जितना भी quality हो जाए. So on that note, I hope you guys learned a lot, like from these three capital markets company. आपका जो भी doubt होगा, आप of course, like you guys have access to me directly on WhatsApp. You send me WhatsApp audios, I will respond accordingly. So on that note, thank you so much for listening.